Welcome everybody to week 2 at CSM Live at 5, or episode 2. I don't know. Let us know what you think. Week 2, episode 2. We're still playing with the ideas. We'll figure it out. If you haven't subscribed to the CSM Yorktown YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that now, and then turn on your notifications, hit the little bell. That way you get all the notifications every time we go live, or every time we upload new content. Just another way for you to stay connected to everything that we have going on during this social distancing time. I'm getting really tired of saying that, but we'll get there. It's all right. We're going to get through this. Last week we announced the winner of the first week of our interaction and comment challenge on social media. We need a better name for that. Comment that down below, something that'll help us. But we have the winner for this week, I'll tell you now. Jackie Berland. Thank you for interacting so much on social media with us this week. You are the winner, so be on the lookout for a text message or an email from either myself, Rebecca, or Amber, and then just let us know when you get that. So congratulations. Thank you for joining us again. It was really awesome seeing everybody's interaction. So keep it up. Every week we're going to announce somebody new until we figure out, how we're going to be able to meet again. But with that, last week we finished up our series, The Storyteller, and this week we have a one-off talking about something that is kind of relevant to now, relevant to everything that's going on in our world, and it has to do with fear. So we're going to jump into this right now. We're just going to get right into it, and then we have some announcements at the end for you. So stick around for those, and then we'll be able to talk about how we can stay connected the rest of this week. So starting out, fear is a huge motivator, and it also is a demolisher. It can motivate us to make all kinds of rash decisions. It can make us give up on our dreams. It can make us do everything that we can to stay safe, which is not a bad thing, but it does have its consequences. Fear sells. So if you think about how many companies make money off of our fears, like security companies, or your fear of having wrinkles, beauty products, they take advantage of that. Fear gets votes. Politicians constantly are babbling back and forth about how their opponent is going to sell your information to foreign entities, or healthcare isn't available, and so they're going to scare you, and they're like, oh, but it's okay. Don't have fear. I have a solution for that. But it's not cool, right? Constantly using our fear against us. Fear boosts local TV news ratings. This one's really relevant. You guys probably see this a lot right now. Think about this one. The local news medias all around the country are constantly being monitored by us all the time, 24/7. They have news all day long. And what is it talking about? And the media knows this, and they do this to instill fear because it keeps us watching. When we're fearful, we want to know more. We want to keep getting more and more deeper into this issue because we feel like the more we know, the better we are prepared. But fear drives us to search for more information, makes us more comfortable, and instead all we get is breaking news. Coronavirus is in your community. Great. One more reason to be scared, right? But that's okay. We're going to talk about this. So this fear, I have a story, and it goes into, I was back at my last church in California while I was in school, and I was working with the kids community there, and there was this little kid. He just became I was like his best little friend. We were always hanging out, doing all the crafts and activities together, and one day he came into the room and he was crying, and I had never seen him cry. And this kid was just so free-spirited normally, so it was such a heartbreaking thing to see him crying. So I had to ask him, hey buddy, what's going on? What happened? Why are you upset? And he holds his hand out, and he had a big old splinter, like one of those deep ones that you definitely can't get it out yourself, right? We've all been there. It's never fun, and it just sits there and bothers you. But he was like distraught because it was painful, and he didn't know what to do. So after talking with his parents, and we were trying to figure out how to calm him down, I told him, hey, let me get it out for you. Let me pull out my tool. I'll pull it out of your hand. And he says, okay. Well, I pulled out the tool, and I attempted to remove it, but it caused him just a wince of pain, right? Wince of pain. And he immediately was scared of the pain and decided that he didn't want to do it. He was so distraught about it. The fear of the pain that he was experiencing convinced him that it was better to just leave it in. Just leave the splinter in there. So fear can motivate us to make some crazy decisions. And this fear that he had of the pain of a splinter, it may seem irrational and kind of funny to us, but many fears that we have aren't. So I want to ask you this, and maybe you can leave it in the comments if you're comfortable, and you don't have to say what it is. Have you ever experienced a fear that someone said was completely irrational? Or maybe you experienced a fear that you said was irrational. I've done that. So let us know, and if you're comfortable, share it. Like, if it was something like, if it's clowns, which that's not an irrational fear. I'm sorry. I'm just going to put that out there. Not an irrational fear. But I noticed something interesting here when I read the Bible. Because there's a distinct difference between us telling each other and people telling you that your fear is irrational and talking to you about your fear and what you're afraid of than what the Bible says about your fears and what you're afraid of. It's completely contrasting, actually. Because most of the time, when someone is telling you not to be afraid, their reasoning is that your fear is unfounded. And that's not for us to decide. So, they pretty much just want to say that it's not truly fearful. Like, whatever it is, it's not worth you wasting your time being fearful or anxious about it. But, and we're told as children not to be afraid of, because that snake is more afraid of you than we are of it, which I don't know about anybody else, but I don't know if that's true, especially for clowns or anything like that. Anybody who has a fear of something, that clown is not more afraid of you. Okay. We're told that there really aren't monsters under the bed, so we have no reason to be scared of the dark. We're told that flying is the safest mode of transportation statistically, so we shouldn't be fearful of flying. Our fears are labeled irrational by the world all the time, by each other. But there's a difference when the Bible tells us not to be afraid. The Bible is never calling you ignorant or irrational. The Bible gives us situations where our fears are well-founded, and then it says, don't be afraid. Listen to this. So this is Psalms 27, 1-3. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. So he's saying right here, when the wicked advance against me, that's scary. When the wicked are coming after us, that's scary. And it's not saying, oh, but that's ridiculous. No, he's saying, when these things are happening, who is my light? God. Where's my salvation? With him. So it's not saying, oh, you're afraid of your enemies? You should stop that. No. And then another one is Psalms 46. This one won't be on the screen. God is our refuge and our strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the earth of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake in their surging. The Bible tells us all the time not to be afraid, but we have to look at the context of why or how. God's not saying that our fears are completely unfounded. They're not. When the earth looks like it's falling apart around us, when it makes us feel that way, that's not irrational. But there's a solution. We're going to get to that. So, how do we solve this? How do we get practical with our fear? How do we move past our fears? How do we obey what Jesus says when he says this? Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. He doesn't tell us that our fears are irrational. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. Now, there's a reason for this. All right, there's a reason, and we're going to get right into this right now. This is how we're going to make it practical. Number one is that we have to know Jesus and God, right? We have to know who they are, and we have to know what they're capable of. And we may not actually get to the full extent of that, but we have to be confident in it. And it's going to be really hard, but it takes work, and we're going to talk about that. So, the more we know God, the smaller and the weaker our fears become because he can handle them, right? God's not going to give us anything that the world will tell you that God's not going to give you anything that you can't handle. I challenge that. He will give you something that you can't handle alone. He wants you to handle it with him. He wants you to know that he's got it no matter what. He can handle it, but you can't handle it alone. He wants us to need him. He will not give you something that you can't handle without him or with him. Okay? You have to have him with you. That's what he's trying to tell us. But he's going to tell us this in Mark. So, Mark 4:35 through 41. That day, when evening came up, he said to the disciples, "Let us go over to the other side," right? Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along, just as he was in the boat. There was also other boats with him. A furious squall came up, and waves broke over the boat, so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him, and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Like, why are you sleeping, man? What's going on? So Jesus got up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. He said to the disciples, "Why are you so afraid?" He's not saying, "Why are you so afraid of the water?" He's not saying, "Why are you so afraid of the storm?" He's saying, "I'm here. I have the power to handle this, and I'm here with you, so don't be afraid." The fear of the water, the fear of the ocean is not what he's saying don't be afraid of. Okay? He's here. Do you still have no faith? Now, we'll get into that in a second as well, but they were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even in the wind and the waves obey him." So when we are challenged with something that we're afraid of, we can be scared of that. It's okay. But you can't conquer that fear without him. All right? Because that's what he's there for. That's why he says, "Don't be afraid. I'm here." All right? So, how do we get to know God more? The Bible. Read it. Dive into it. You have it on your phone. You're here you're doing the right thing, diving into the Word by just being with us here. But dive into your Bible. Find those stories that Jesus says, "Don't be afraid." He does it multiple times. But don't look at it as he's saying that their fears are irrational. Look at it as he's saying, "Hey, I'm here. I've come. I've conquered. It's okay. I've come to rescue you." Number 2, we need to choose who validates our fear, right? Social media and the news are not good options, okay? So don't be looking to the world to say that your fear is validated or that it's founded on a good grounds, because they're not going to say that. Whitney gave us a great word on Friday about changing the input. And I want to reinforce that. Instead of plugging into these channels and these news feeds that inspire fear and making our anxieties feel irrational, which just spin us up even more, we need to plug into God's Spirit. So trust him with your fears, tell him your fears, and do not let the world tell you how to handle them. Let God handle them. Let him take on the burden of your fears, because he is strong enough to do that. But you have to give him your fears, and you have to trust him with them. All right? Just like with what Jesus wanted from the disciples, he wanted them to just trust that he can handle them, because that's what he can do. His power can handle your fears. So, bottom line, do not be afraid. He is here. Have no fear. Overcome those fears. All right. So, thank you so much for joining us with that. We're going to talk about a few announcements for this week, and then we'll close in prayer. And so, first things first, you all are doing so great interacting with us on Instagram, on YouTube, being here right now. I'm sorry I can't see your comments. I don't have somebody right here telling me what everybody's saying, but our leaders are on there interacting with you guys. Thank you so much for being there. Continue to dive in with us every week. We're going to continue to have challenges. Speaking of which, one that we have this week, you're going to take a scene from your favorite movie. You can choose whatever movie you want, but I'd say choose your favorite because you know those movies the best. And you're going to recreate a picture of a scene. And you're going to put them side by side, using only items and people in your house. All right? Because we're isolated, so use what's in your home. And you can find all kinds of cool inspiration on Google, where there's people that have recreated like lightsaber battles and with toilet paper. toilet paper. And they've posted them with their kids on them. Just get in there, dive into it, figure it out, and then go ahead and post it on Instagram and tag us. Tag CSM Yorktown, so that way we can see it. And then our leaders are going to take a vote of who's the best one. So take a picture, put it side by side, recreating your favorite scene from a movie, and using only the items in your home. I just burped. It's okay. And then Wednesday, we still have small groups. All right, so small groups at 6 o'clock using Zoom. We're going to stick with that platform. I know that it's given some of you guys some troubles. Zoom is really bogged down. We're going to figure it out. Just give us some time. We have all the time at home now, so we'll figure it out. And then lastly, Friday, Whitney is going to do another quarantine time devotion, so please get on there on IGTV. If you don't have Instagram, let us know. We'll find another way to be able to get that up to you guys. But right now, that is our main way of getting our Friday night devotions. So thank you for joining us on that. What? The game. Oh, yeah. We have a game for you guys. All right, so before we go, Jake over here is going to load up a couple of slides, right? So it's called Famous Phobias, as you can see right here. What's going to happen is he's going to put up the next slide, and it's going to be a celebrity, all right? Somebody famous. I like the thing. Like Kristen Bell. Here we go. So in the comments, I want you guys to try and figure out right now what her phobia is, all right? We're going to give you 10 seconds starting right now. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my phone. Give me 1 second. And then you just go ahead and post it in there and let us know what you think. And go. Well, I wish I could sit here and give you guys hints, but I can't. I feel like that'd be cheating. But go ahead. All right, so here comes the answer. Jake's going to load it up right now. Wet, pretty fingers. This is no joke, all right? She wears these waterproof gloves in the pool. No joke. Couldn't make this up. It's definitely not sloths because she's a huge fan of sloths. I don't know where that came from. But anyways, next one. We'll go to the next one. Orlando Bloom. I have no idea about this one. It'd be funny if it was monkeys because Pirates of the Caribbean had a monkey in it. All right, time's up. Pigs. Pigs? I wouldn't expect that from him. All right, next one. Oprah. Oh, no. Chewed gum and dirty socks sound pretty gross. I don't understand why she would be afraid of orange peels or pop balloons, but we're about to find out. What's the answer, Jake? Chewed gum? Yeah, I don't think I could touch chewed gum. I think I'd freak out. Heck no. All right, next one. Tyra Banks. Honestly, I don't even know who this is. So, that's good. All right, what's she afraid of? Dolphins? Dolphins! All right. That's not irrational. None of these fears are irrational. Remember that. All right, next one. Liam Payne. I don't know who this is either. I must be too old. Can somebody leave in the comments who this is for me so I can find out later? Because I'm really lost. What's his fear? Spoons. Spoons. All right. All right. Keanu Reeves. Oh, I'm curious about this one. I know who this guy is. All right. The Matrix. Anybody? Yes? Cool. Matrix Reloaded. We don't mention that. We don't talk about that movie. The Dark? That's an interesting one considering, The Matrix is a pretty dark movie. I wonder if he had to be in the dark a lot for that one. Maybe we'll ask him. Robert De Niro. Oh, come on. This guy can't be afraid of anything. Come on. He's the original G. All right. What's his fear? Dentist. All right. I understand that. Dentist cause pain. Matthew McConaughey. Man. Revolving doors, dumpsters, tunnels, and bridges. I'm gonna go with tunnels. What do you think? Oh, okay. It's 50%. All right. I didn't know we could do this. Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow spiders would be really ironic. Just saying. Birds. Afraid of. We bought a zoo. I didn't know she was in that movie. All right. Birds. I used to draw birds. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, we're going to give you some extra time for this one. this is our last slide for this game. So on there is Sherry, Whitney, Amber, and myself. And you're going to try and match up the number to the person to figure out what their fear is. Let's see how many of you can get it right. And we'll announce, who got the most right later on. But I'll give you guys 20 seconds to go ahead and get that, all right? So starting now, make your guesses. Oh. I mean, none of those things are things that, no. None of those things are irrational fears at all. No. All right, we're almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here it comes. Sherry is afraid of heights. Amber is afraid of the dark. Gotcha. Me and Whitney are both afraid of snakes, which is really funny because when I was 10 years old, I used to go into my grandma's garden and catch garden snakes all the time. And now I can't touch a snake. I can't even be in the same room with them. I'll die. One would die, actually died, but. All right, well, thanks for playing with that with you guys. That was a lot of fun. I honestly didn't know most of those. I knew about the last one because I created that one, but gotcha. So we're going to close. We're just going to say a quick prayer, and then just meet us on social media again this week. Thank you so much for your interactions. Thank you. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for providing us with such a crazy and cool way to be able to interact through technology. We thank you for Jake for being here to put this all together for us. We thank you for the leaders that have been able to get on and just interact with all of us and make this such an interesting experience during this time. We appreciate you. We love you. And thank you for being the one that can handle our fears when we can't handle them alone. Lord, we put our trust in you this week and for the weeks to come, that you will just have your sovereign hand over this whole thing, and that we will know your presence more every week. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks, guys.